Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Game on Cloud 9 here, and today I'm here to bring you guys a special video that I've been meaning to make for quite some time. And basically it's exactly what the title says. My top 5 issues with the Naruto series as a whole. Now, it probably shocks some out there that I'm actually making a video concerning this, considering the fact that usually I tend to be on the more positive side when it comes down to Naruto. If you've watched my videos for a while, or if you even talk to me, you know, Naruto definitely is one of my favorite series out there, if not I'd say maybe my favorite, or if not my favorite, it's my second favorite because I love the heck out of DBZ. I don't really talk about it much on my channel. That's mainly due to the fact that nothing comes out anymore, so what is there to talk about? But anyway, you know, as far as my overall, my issues with Naruto, I'm just going to go ahead and start off with number 5, and this probably shocks a lot of people out here. Just to let everyone know or get a heads up, this video basically is going to include the anime and manga because both the issues are kind of combined for me. And number 5 is going to have to be the animation. The animation in Naruto, or mainly more in Shippuden, and I'm not going to say in the beginning, I'm going to say more towards after the Invasion of Pain. If some people aren't familiar, I did a rant a while back on the Naruto animation as far as, you know, Invasion of Pain and beyond that has just been so inconsistent. I mean, I'm not saying in part 1 it had problems at times too with animation. You know, I mean, I remember when there was some animation and crazy stuff going on in the Forest of Death. But I mean, in part 2, I mean, I remember Pain. I mean, do I have to show the picture? Do I have to show the picture? I mean, just look and see. Like, you can see freaking Pain. His mouth is all looking crazy, and, you know, it looks like a freaking Looney Tune character. And on top of that, you think about, there's other, I mean, there's been times where, I think in the 5 Kage Summit where Kakashi's, I think it was when Team 7 met up again. I remember Sasuke's Susanoo wasn't even colored right, it was missing things, the shape of it was wrong. You know, in that same episode, Kakashi's Sharingan was colored wrong. I think even in the Danzo and Sasuke fight, that was all messed up in the middle due to the animation errors and stuff. I mean, there's numerous occasions where, you know, the animation is hit and miss. Recently, they've been getting a little bit back on track, but it can be a bit disappointing when the animation is like subpar almost. It makes you almost not feel like watching, at least for me. That's all I can say. When it comes down to the anime, that's one of my major problems with it. It's just flat out the animation. Now, after that has to come, and this has to do with the manga actually. This is going to be number 4. And basically, it's the flashback placement in the Naruto series. And what I'm talking about with flashback placement, I know a lot of you guys have noticed it out there. I know some people have mentioned this before. But a lot of times, you'll just have flashbacks in just the weirdest moments when somebody's in the middle of fighting. You know, when the hype is at its highest, and it's just like, wait, hold up, let's stop for a second, let's talk about this. And it's just like, okay, I like Naruto flashbacks, you know, I mean, I do enjoy getting them as far as finding out what happened, but I find myself enjoying the flashbacks a lot more after the fight is done and we've gotten past that particular scene in the manga, as opposed to watching it while it's going on or reading it while it's going on. You know, like, okay, this week we saw Kabuto, or I think it was last week we saw Kabuto's flashback in the anime. Now, when we got it in the manga, I didn't complain about it too much. Again, I'm more of one of the optimistic / positive reviewers in the community, so I like to see where things are going. And I didn't really have a huge issue as to what was being talked about. But the timing as to when it came in was just completely off. Now, in the anime, since I already knew what was coming after that, I accepted it. It didn't bother me, you know, because I already knew it was going to happen. You know, so I liked getting it, but, you know, it's always been misplaced. And this is something that didn't just occur in part 2. This is something that went all the way back to part 1. For all of those people out there who think that part 1 is like God status series or whatever, like part 1 was perfect. Part 1 had the same issue. I can remember, I think Gaara had his flashbacks in the middle of fighting Naruto. And I don't think I was really bothered by it back then, but I can remember, like, my sister, I remember she was even watching it, and she didn't particularly like how flashbacks are being thrown into that fight during the fight with Gaara back in part 1. So, obviously that's, you know, probably one of my hugest issues with the storyline as far as that's concerned. Now I have number 3. Hold on one second. I almost forgot it. Number 3. Okay. Sorry, I wrote it down. It's actually the overhype. Now, I'm not talking about the overhype of the series. I'm talking about overhype as far as certain characters are concerned. If there was one downfall that I actually have, or I would say that the series has concerning the 4th grade ninja war, that I will definitely agree with a lot of people out there on, is the overhype of the Edo Tensei Shinobi. Granted, some of them are really sweet. Granted, I was optimistic about some of them, and granted, I have enjoyed the war. You know, it's not my favorite arc. As far as, like, for example, Deidara and Sasori, I mean, I don't really like the way they got knocked out or they got beat. Because, I mean, Deidara, we all know that he was way stronger. I mean, Sasuke struggled against him a little bit. And on top of that, I mean, he didn't use no C0, he didn't use his C4, he didn't use a lot of stuff. You know, he got beat basically by fodder Shinobi. I mean, granted, Kakuro's not bad, but I'm thinking, like, you're facing 2 Akatsuki members. Sasori, okay, if they fought one-on-one, maybe I'll accept it because he had no puppets, and he was in, like, a human form. He didn't even have a puppet body. So, okay, Sasori I can understand a little bit. Deidara, to me, there was really not much of an excuse. So, I mean, that's one of the issues I had with that. And Hanzo probably was the biggest letdown. Hanzo, the fact that he was supposed to be able to fight on par with all 3 legendary Sonic, he freaking nicknamed him Sonic, and then he gets off just like that, you know, by Mifune, just one slash, like I think it was like 2 chapters. Granted, you know, I mean, it's cool to see Mifune do something, but the fight was not long enough at all, and we didn't even see Hanzo use a jutsu, so he just felt straight up overhyped. You know, so I feel like, you know, sometimes, and not even just in the 4th grade ninja war, but from time to time, I just notice sometimes in the Naruto story, they have a tendency to overhype certain fights. You know what I mean? Neji, I almost feel like sometimes was overhyped. And, you know, nothing against Neji fans, but, I mean, I remember even the freaking 4th grade ninja war, Naruto's, like, fanboying over Neji right before he died, talking about, oh, wow, he's such a genius. I'm like, what could Neji do? I mean, I like Neji, but I mean, what could he do against, like, Akatsuki or anybody else? I mean, Neji's okay. He's not bad, but, you know, I wouldn't go and say he's top tier or anything, at least in my opinion. Number 2 actually has to do with just what we were talking about. Number 2, the misplacement, or I'm going to say, like, the lack of, screen/panel time of certain characters, and you guys know who they are, like the Konoha 11, a lot of the side characters. For much of the series, we have got nothing, and I mean, I love these 2 characters, but at the same time, I feel like you need a breath of fresh air. Naruto and Sasuke. Like, I mean, we already know what everybody, you know, what everybody thinks about those 2, what they gonna do, but as far as what they've actually done in the story, I mean, I feel like, okay, the 4th grade ninja war was a time, and even before the 4th grade ninja war, I personally mainly in Shippuden, a time where they could have showcased plenty of characters. And, you know, of course, Naruto and Sasuke have to have their shine or whatnot, because they're like, almost like, well, Sasuke's sort of like the main character, aside from Naruto. If Naruto died, Sasuke would be the main character practically. But, I mean, I feel like, okay, Rock Lee. Rock Lee has not gotten a single fight, or I would even say, you know, played even the smallest bit of a big role when it comes down to part 2 of Naruto. Which, you know, granted, I mean, I like part 2 more than part 1. I mean, that's me, it's my opinion, but I feel like Rock Lee, he's my 2nd favorite character. I mean, I would have liked to see him do a little bit, be a little bit relevant. And I remember when he gave Madara that kick, I figured he was going to do a little bit more against Madara. I mean, granted, there's still time, you know, he can do something later, you know, we'll see, but I mean, that obviously, you know, is a bit of a letdown. And I almost feel like, too, that we still haven't seen 8th Gate at this point. I doubt we ever will. So, I mean, that's a letdown going all the way back from part 1 if we don't see that. But just a lot of characters. I mean, we don't even know who the freak 1010 is. I mean, 1010, if you know who 1010 is, it's only because you've seen filler. That's the reason why you know 1010. So that's a little bit of an issue. Granted, I like a lot of the Konoha 11. I feel like Shikacho has probably gotten the best development / screen time concerning Shippuden. This, other than obviously Team 7. Other than that, everybody else pretty much has gotten. I'm not gonna say shafted completely. I mean, they've gotten a little bit of panel time in the freaking 4th grade Ninja War. They've done a few things. Hold on one moment. For some reason, some random pop-up came on my computer, and yeah, I had freaking ads up. But anyway, like, to get back to what was going on with Shikacho. Shikacho, they've played a lot of relevance, and we've had Team Guy a little bit in the beginning.